So, next game we're going to do on Tundra. And they're going to go with the same civs. Get some good practice in. Wonder if we'll see a reverse or a repeat of last game. So now this time I've swapped the player colours. We've got Optimal as player 2, Greeky is player 1. And Greeky taking his first hunt straight away. Optimal is just looking to find his. Greeky finding another one on the other side of his base. So this is a really nice hunt position for him. Whereas Optimal is actually really scrambling to find a hunt. Only just getting on one now, so that's a bit sucky for him. Forced to have to go with 4 on the berries. Actually running them straight over to the hunt now to all build the storehouse at once. So this should be really quick now actually. And throwing up the other storehouse immediately as well. So Greeky, I'm not sure if he's going to go with the same build, but I wouldn't be surprised considering it worked well last game for him. At early aggression going with the standard barracks, but actually, oh yep, yeah, of course he is. So he's going down with the early barracks. He's got a single villager. He's actually got 2 villagers on the barracks. Building that one. Any more than that's sort of a waste, but 2 villagers is always nice in a structure of that amount of health. Just ends up saving you about, oh, probably a good, what did they actually take to build? Yeah, probably a good 15-20 seconds off it. So it's generally worth throwing down the second villager. After that it starts to get a bit fruitless. So see more gathering. Another storehouse. This time sort of a bit more of an aggressive spot on the wood over here rather than down over here. And Greeky just scanning out Optimal's base. Optimal is taking a dock in the meantime. So Optimal again with the greedier macro strategy, and this time I hope it does pay off for him because Greeky is already getting out the spears, and in this map it's a bit of a bloodbath really. There's only a fairly short distance between the players, but because of this paving it makes for some funny attacks, and it means you are sort of safe from this side, but it means that people can sort of come in and cut you off as well if they go for an earlier aggression strategy. So it's a really, really nice map, but I think it makes for some interesting high level games, and it's really punishing for people that are only playing it for the first couple of times, and really punishing for people that aren't so quick around the map. So we see Optimal actually just about to lose a village. Oh, it does get healed up in time and saved by the town centre. So just going to get Garrison and send off to do something a little bit safer away from the front lines now. So the scout of Optimal's having to do a lot of the tanking here. 3 spearmen now coming onto it, and scout of Greeky's as well there to deal harass. So he needs to be careful before he loses his scout. What's this? It's sort of a bit of a standoff here. Now the scout is going to... Oh, he's going to save it! Optimal, what are you doing? You are nuts! Now the scout falls. But not before Greeky's scout does take a whole bunch of other shots, so maybe that was sort of the plan there. And Greeky forcing Optimal back off his storehouse, so again he's being punished off 2 storehouses already. Optimal queuing up his spearmen to try and hastily defend here. He's taken the dock as well, so he's got that economic advantage over Greeky still, but Greeky, I don't know if he actually knows about it just yet. So Greeky actually unaware about the dock. Optimal probably trying to mount the pressure to stop Greeky from being able to flank round that side of the base and discover it, because that's a good spear number for Greeky. But Optimal going up onto his 4th ship behind all, well, that's the 3rd popping and his 4th ship in production behind all this. So Optimal 19 villagers to 19 of Greeky despite the loss. So, and despite having to pull his priestess away and having the slower training villagers, I believe, by 1 second. So without that priestess, the Egyptian advantage with the train time actually is a disadvantage. So right now Greeky is trying to flank around the other side of the base, and like I said, it is a bit of a march. It's a bit hard to try and come through there, but he does have a good spear number, so I'm not sure why he really waited that long as well. So he is forcing a big pullback by Optimal. Optimal having to flee with 14 wood villagers at the moment, so Greeky is going to snipe the storehouse again. Maybe lose another spear or two here, but I think in his mind it's going to be pretty much worth it. Fairly even trade. Really slowing down Optimal with all this extra gathering time, and he's going to scout the docks, so this is really nice from him. He might even interrupt this house. I think he will, so Optimal again having to throw up another house. And Greeky losing a lot of his initial spears, but he's forced a lot out of the Egyptian player. He's got H2 behind this. Optimal actually a little bit slower on the age up because he's taken the dock, because he's had the initial harass dealt to him. He's a little bit slower on that H2. Greeky's in the position to actually get a bit of an advantage with his longswords already again. Still sending some spears around the map, but he's got a longsword in production. He'll be throwing up another barracks. Yeah, he's throwing up a second barracks. But he got double longsword production on the way. And he's just having Optimal's units chase him. He's going to lose all of his initial spears, but this will give him the time to get enough of a longsword count where he can start taking a fight. And he's just killing the initial lynxes, the aggressive huntables. The longswords here actually coming straight in to try and chop through Optimal's spearmen, and Optimal just finishing his H2 now. But Greeky's still not on the water at this stage. Over here on the southern side, Optimal's actually got a really nice spear count. He's picking off these scouting spears of Greeky, so Greeky's going to be sort of flying blind here on the southern side. But on the northern side, same sort of deal for Optimal. They've both sort of got these initial force here being killed off, but backing up and killing one another's side force off. So there's a gold mine TC here, so that's really good in a sense, because Greeky, I don't think he's scouted any other gold mines at the moment, so that's really going to help him out. He hasn't seen gold anywhere else on the map other than over his opponent's side of the map, so Greeky's going to have to be a little reliant on that. Optimal got some spears flanking around the back of Greeky's base now. Greeky's army a little bit unaware of this. Scout really, really low. I wonder if he's... Yeah, he is waiting to get healing ointment. Try and heal the scout up. Try and scout up other movements here. Probably one of the better spots to try and park it, because he knows that his opponent's unlikely to take that gold, but in the event he does, it's going to be really good information. And the third barracks may be interrupted here. Oh, I don't think so now. He just doesn't have the spear count to really pick off the villager, and the others are just going to finish building it, so the barracks is not going to be interrupted. Greeky's managing to get his third out. Going to start triple longsword production, I believe, and he's now on the docks, double dock actually behind this. Optimal is on 2 docks too. I don't think either player has yet opted for, well, neither player's really got a good merchant transport dock line just yet, but stick around, I think we might have one coming up, because Optimal's actually got a reasonably length dock line there. But in saying that, Greeky's got a really, really well-sized force now, and taking a forward watch post so he knows whereabouts his opponent is. But Optimal in the meantime actually is going on to 1 stables, two stables now, 2 barracks versus 4 barracks now. So 4 barracks is for Greeky. So 2 racks to stable versus 4 racks right now in this Kel versus Egypt, and there's a whole bunch of houses that are going to get interrupted here, as well as the expansion onto the gold. And some workers being forced to pull back as well in a second. A couple are going to fall. There's a couple of camel riders popping out now. And yeah, mixed army composition of Acorn is going to be able to push the long swordsman back now. But for how long? Because Greeky, he's going to be throwing up his armory. He's got his 5th barracks in production now too. So Greeky really expanding onto the barracks at this stage. Optimal, I think he'd be throwing down his armory as well. Has yet skipped a production facility, but is going to probably throw down another in a second. I think Greeky's, throwing down watch posts. Going to make sure he can try and starve his opponent on the gold here. Optimal going for a raid over on Greeky's north side, just before the walls are going to come up. So it's going to be quite well timed from him. It's going to get a good interrupt on the storehouse. Not really force much. Not even get the storehouse kill. But he's not going to lose a unit either, so bit of a nothing trade there for either player. Spearmen are going to keep chasing the camel rider, but he is going to eventually make it out of the snare lock, and they're all going to be free to move out. But on the southern side, Optimal has been scouted, moving out into Greeky, but Greeky just doesn't have enough forces here to really take the fight, I don't think, just yet. He needs to mix in some more spearmen, but he's looking at doing that now too. So there's the watchtower falling, and meanwhile Optimal has managed to flank his cavalry through Greeky's base, so he's going to look at trying to pick some stuff off. There's a fairly useless dead storehouse now, but he's going to look at moving past that, trying to have a look at what all of his units are doing. Going to move on the villager, but thinking, nope, I'll just keep moving. He's going to try and pincer his opponent here, keep everything all together too, so he's going to be able to mount a big engagement against his opponent. He's got a really nice camel rider number. There's only a couple of spears out on the field for Greeky at the moment, but there'll be more on the way. So Greeky sort of forced back onto his TC, but he's getting some good kills on Optimal's infantry forces coming in. But the camel riders are proving to be a real danger here. Infantry coming in from the south side to take a fight, but I think Greeky has got the numbers advantage here. But on the northern side, Greeky is forced to have to hurriedly push all of his villagers into his town centre, because Optimal is just circling with those cavalry again and again. He's not willing to lose anything, so he's not taking big engagements, but he's constantly moving in and out on his opponent's base, forcing villager pullbacks, forcing villagers to garrisons, which is really slowing down Greeky's economy behind all this. So Greeky's spears surrounding the cavalry, but there's just not enough of them to really pick off any kills, so the cavalry again are going to retreat. And on the southern side, looks to be a little bit of a stalemate at the moment. A couple of Greeky's units about to be picked off, but Optimal actually going to... Optimal has managed to fit some cavalry through past Greeky's army, so he's managed to go for a big mass of his camel riders, got a big mass of infantry moving up on the top side of the map, and he's got 20 camel riders moving through Greeky's base now, so Greeky is going to have to probably garrison some stuff soon. Both players really scrambling with everything they've got at the moment. Greeky forced to have to garrison a whole bunch of villagers, 10 villagers off his woodline. Going to lose some off his gold. And meanwhile over here, Optimal is just chipping away at all the forces running back for Greeky. So Optimal doing a really nice job at hemming in Greeky now. Greeky trying to respond with all of his infantry, but they are a fair bit slower than Optimal's camels, so Optimal's just got to be careful not to lose too many of them, and he can really get some nice kills here. Picking off some more villagers here, but the camels are only down to 4, so he's managed to lose a whole bunch of his camels, but he's slowed down Greeky's economy a little bit. But in saying that, he is still behind his opponent in village number by 4, so he needs to be a little bit careful with this. Yeah, Greeky actually pushing up to try and take a big fight with Optimal's infantry before he can look at switching back onto them with any great number. But on the southern side of his base, looks like another storehouse and some more villagers are going to fall. Greeky forcing Optimal's infantry force out, but Optimal's cavalry again raining havoc. He's getting another couple more villager snipes, getting a whole bunch of them low, and he's going to lose a couple of camel riders for his troubles. But he's still going to have another couple in his opponent's base. Just there to finish off some units. Maybe try and pick a couple more villagers off, because there's a whole bunch low on this gold mine and down on the bottom side of the map, there's a big fight going on between the two. So the Egyptian player now pushing up the Celt player. So Greeky forced to have to rally everything together. He's got a whole bunch of spearmen here in this infantry fight versus a whole bunch of axemen and only a handful of the camel riders. So Optimal is going to probably split the camel riders out, try and hit from another angle, force Greeky to have to try and take an infantry fight with mixed units, which isn't optimal. Not optimal at all, because that's who he's playing against. Anyway, but Optimal actually getting a nice pick of all of Greeky's villages, probably heading down to the south side of the map to throw down a third town centre, or a market, or both, or a dock. And Greeky in the meantime is really killing off all of his infantry now. But Optimal in the meantime, has delayed all these villages on the south side, probably going to throw down town centre, market, dock on this southern side of the map. And Optimal, despite really heavy infantry losses, is really maintaining an economic lead over his opponent now. I think he's managed to get, he's managed to get his third town centre, up a little bit quicker than his opponents, pretty much denying Greeky from doing anything on the bottom side of the map. Really hunkered down in his own base with the 3 closed town centres, and just sort of kiting him back now with the Axeman champions. Greeky has yet to get any movement speed upgrades from his Bard Hall, which I think he probably will regret come the end of this game, because that movement speed advantage over your opponent's infantry sort of is what allows you to play around the fact that you don't have cavalry going into age 2. So on the southern side, he's sort of run into these well-positioned spears, so he's not able to get a lot out of his camel riders. I think they're all going to fall. He's going to have to retreat with half a dozen of them, but he's lost about half of them basically. So meanwhile, Greeky is going to have to retreat with his infantry because everything's so low here. Optimal's just got a much high health force here at the moment, so all of Greeky's frontline units are just going to get destroyed. And Greeky, again, is going to have to try and repel the invaders from inside of his base. So there's more cavalry, again, more camel riders denying that wood line, and Optimal is going to try and take a forward fortress inside of his opponent's half the map. So all these units rallied here, a couple more of them are going to fall, not before they get another couple of good kills. And again, he's going to pick another couple of villages off Greeky's off. He's reinforcing really well here, Acorn. Despite the extra travel distance, he's managing to make everything across in time, so he's probably going to get this fortress down if he can get the villages here in time in no time soon. So there's no units splitting off from Optimal's forces. He's still got a couple of camels here, pretty low, probably rally in, maybe chip away at the wall, but he seems to be doing a good job at really cutting up through Greeky's midline. There's no real infantry front line for Greeky anymore, and there's not really any more camels coming through on this side for Optimal, so he's not really at a disadvantage anymore. He's got the Axeman champion versus the Longswordsman champion, and I think he might have the upgrade advantage, so he's really putting in work this game. Yeah, so actually Greeky, I think, might be on even footing with the upgrades. He's just losing out because he's just the mass of them, and Optimal is taking fights elsewhere. He's going to get the fortress right on his opponent's doorstep. He's going to get 2 fortresses right on his opponent's doorstep. So Greeky is really hemmed in right now. Optimal is pushing right into his base with this Axeman camel comp, and it's just working wonders. The north side fortress is just about finished, so Greeky still only on the 2 town centres at this stage. He's forced to have to defend with everything he's got, and he's got a good number of long swordsmen now, but the fortresses have finished up, so there's going to be siege coming through soon. These elephants are really going to hurt him, I think, when they arrive. And Optimal bringing some units towards the top side. He wants to probably try and find that market too, so Greeky is eventually going to lose this barracks, but not before getting a couple of units out of it. On the north side, he's going to lose a couple of houses. He's got this town centre, not too distantly positioned from the fortress, so he's going to be able to get a whole bunch of either siege elephants or get a whole bunch of siege units out of a workshop behind that and really push into his opponent. So Greeky is really being sandwiched right now by Acorn. Those units at the top side didn't really seem to do a great deal, and this fortress could get a couple of easy snipes there, but it's trying to focus down the houses as well. Seems really content with just trying to pick off the buildings at this stage. He's going to have to defend right on the town centre now, which is never a good position to be in when there's strong potential for siege, because they're just going to eventually rip through the town centre and you're going to have to try and build it back up again. They're one of the most crucial buildings. They probably are the most crucial building in the game. Greeky's actually got the merchant transport. Optimal at this stage hasn't opted to do the same yet. No merchant transport. Greeky, yeah, does have the single merchant transport on the back line, which is, I think, is really effective. Although that's sort of really short, I probably would look at throwing down another dock up here or something like that, because if it's the same distance as your market line but on the water and yeah, pretty much the same spot, it's going to be quite easy to defend. A couple of camels of Optimals are picking off all the caravans of Greekies, but they are going to get surrounded by the long swordsmen. And over here on the southern side of the map, this is big force, so there's 36 long swordsmen, but again there's about an advantage with the counter infantry, so that seems to be the way that these guys really want to play this game. Force a position where you can get ahead with counter infantry through other means, and then just snowball from there. So they're both really, really good strong players with that tactic. And Greeky is going to lose another barracks. Optimal has actually got some priestesses up here healing the army, so this is good for him, although they are a little bit too far back now. They're not really getting healing off, and Greeky is up to 49. The axeman count is actually falling quite rapidly. The long swordsmen are just popping out super quickly, but they are also falling extremely quickly. So the axemen are actually really ripping ahead. Now, it must be all that AoE damage. Just, holy, I think Greeky just needs something to support these. He needs to get some bowmen out desperately. The axemen alone are a much better front-on fighter than the long swordsmen alone. When it comes to like a pure mass setup, I'd rather axemen over pretty much any of the other counter infantry, just because of their AoE in mass situations, and the fact that they've, well, there's also the two priestesses as well, so that would have been a big boon to them. So Greeky is really having to scramble to defend an Acorn with a fairly BM fortress. GG. Actually, I'll go quest stats, because oh man, that was a crazy game. That was a good game. So Greeky's initial aggression did him quite well, but I think in the end, Optimal, his raiding and his solid macro behind it just proved to be a bit too much. I was a bit surprised. Neither player really had a good merchant transport set up on the map just yet, but I think it's probably going to come with the fact that they are quite new to the map. Like, I've played a couple of games on it and casted a couple of games on it now, and yeah, like, I think it's probably the map where the devs were really inspired for sure to go, yep, we need to nerf these buggers, because they were up to generating 300 gold per trip. So Optimal's raiding really harming Greeky there, because he constantly was trying to produce more, but he just couldn't. There were just constant cavalry raids, and then he's transitioned back onto the Axemen, and GG.